250 representatives of the hunters' metal industries sat down together to discuss the serious problems facing their industry. Union representatives, employers and politicians are for once in broad agreement. Action must be taken to prevent the gradual demise of the metal manufacturing industry in Australia. And that applies particularly to the hunters. And there's general recognition that the so-called resources boom is to blame for many of today's ills. Companies geared up for the boom and have been left floundering when the boom went bust. However, while reasons for the problems might be clear, solutions are not so forthcoming. In fact, Senator Button, the Minister for Industry, gave cold comfort to those who see their jobs threatened in the short term. Senator Button said there are no magic solutions and that government policies have to ensure the survival of the manufacturing industry in the longer term. He warned that the management of change is part of that picture. Neither was new technology by itself an answer, but rather there should be an upgrading of existing industries.
People will still want all the basic things which existing Australian industries provide. If we're talking about new technology, then it is that area of existing industry. We want to look at applying new technology rather than devoting too many resources to the so-called sunrise industry areas. What I'm saying there is that in the longer term we have to look to a much more modern manufacturing sector which is more competitive for that reason and which therefore can provide stable employment.
The location of the ceremonial row-out wasn't one of the 7 Cs, but the Joint Warfare Establishment at the Williamtown RAAF base. For Group Captain John Stahl, yesterday was his retirement after 2.5 years at the control of the establishment. So the Army, Navy and Air Force men who worked with him organised a fitting farewell. The Commandant became pilot for a new military craft which combines the best in amphibious and flying technology. Although it was nothing like the traditional row-out, the operation displayed the ingenuity of our brave fighting men and the skills Captain Stahl learnt from 20 years in the Air Force. Upon leaving the cockpit, Captain Stahl started a new tradition by presenting the so-called Commandant's cane to his successor from the Army, Colonel Colin Brewer. Commandant Stahl, having just tested this prototype fighting vehicle, do you think it has any potential for the armed services?
I think it does have some potential, although I believe some of the horsepower is a little bit limited, or the people power.
You're handing over the reins of power at the Joint Warfare Establishment. How do you feel?
Oh, with some very mixed feelings. I've had a most enjoyable and rewarding tour as the Commandant of the Australian Joint Warfare Establishment. It's a very important role in the defence of Australia to make sure that the 3 services are well trained to cooperate and work together for the defence of Australia, and that's what this base is all about.
It was not surprising, really, that the Great Hall was filled to overflowing for the presentations. 17,000 people attend the TAFE College, more than ever before. Among the dignitaries who attended last night were the Principal, Mr Gilroy, the Director General of TAFE, Mr Patterson, and the State Minister for Education, Mr Cavalier. Watching the students line up to receive their certificates and medallions were parents and family, not just from Newcastle, but from all over the state. One family travelled from Tumut in the snowfields to see their son receive a major prize for wood machining. In all, 250 full and part-time students received awards. Some were handed that important scroll to confirm that they had passed their course. Others received special college awards for topping their year in various stages of study. For 20 Newcastle Tech students, the night was especially memorable. They were each rewarded for achieving the state's highest pass in their subject and year. In this match, which was the second rubber for the championship night, Stephen Martin from Vikings did battle with Wallsend veteran Brian Daly. At 16, Stephen is the youngest player in the district competition, and with his brother John and father Barry, made up 3/4 of the Vikings side. He was too strong for Daly, taking the match 3 sets to 1. When brother John played Wallsend's Gary Thomas, he was favourite to emerge winner. As a junior, John Martin had won just about every title possible. Gary Thomas went down to the Martin machine 3-love. The non-Martin family team member, Lincoln Rees, did not let the Vikings side down in his match. The South African-born player, who has had an almost faultless season, took out the under-19 country champion Michael Fullick 3 sets to love. Even as the Viking elder Barry Martin went into his match with Mark Nolan from Wallsend, Vikings knew they had the championship in the bag. The all-conquering Martin family will play for Curry in the spring competition, so the Coalfields can expect a few squash trophies to come their way.
The Minister for Planning and the Environment, Mr Terry Sheehan, said today it will go a long way towards meeting the needs for residential land in the Newcastle area over the next few years. Mr Sheehan's approval of the local environmental plan for the area is the final formal step before Landcom begins detailed preparations for the development, which has access from Minmai Road and Maryland Drive. Landcom plans a staged development of the area, bordered by residential areas to the south and the Hexham Swamp to the north. The plan also provides for a 100-metre wide buffer zone around the swamp to keep all development above the 1 in 100-year flood level and protect the swamp, which is an area of great conservation value. The road system was being planned to provide efficient vehicle movement, plus direct and safe access for pedestrians and cyclists between homes and areas such as schools and shops. Mr Sheehan said a variety of housing styles would be encouraged, with careful consideration for the environment and measures such as setbacks to ensure all houses get the maximum amount of sunlight.
The latest corporate donation came yesterday from Caltex. A $1,000 cheque was handed to the Deputy Lord Mayor Alderman Don Geddes by the Newcastle sales manager of Caltex, Mr Mark Manell. The donation brings the total raised since the appeal began on the 30th of May to $5,500, well short of the $10,000 target.
Alderman Geddes, how is the winter fuel appeal going?
It's going quite well, but I'd make one comment. If we were to take out the commercial donations from the business houses, there wouldn't be many small donations from people in the community. And it's a pity. I'd like to see more people in the community being aware of the need to make donations to this appeal.
And it is needy people who are going to get this fuel?
Certainly. There are people who qualify by reason of pension and people who qualify by reason of need.
The Deputy Lord Mayor is appealing to the public not just for more money, but for volunteers to help distribute the fuel.
Okay, all right. Something I did want to ask you.
The Newcastle branch secretary of the ATEA, Mr Gary Kennedy, says the union has withdrawn its traditional goodwill towards the doctors because the doctors have withdrawn their goodwill towards the public.
Well, our members feel that if the doctors and specialists are going to withdraw from the New South Wales public health system, they're in fact withdrawing their goodwill from the public in New South Wales. And our members felt that we should also withdraw our goodwill from them. Also, our members felt that if the doctors do succeed in their aim of destroying Medicare, then this will have a direct impact on our incomes, due to the fact that part of the incomes accord was for Medicare, and if Medicare is destroyed, we'll have to go back into private health funds.
Have you any plans to take other industrial action against the doctors?
Not at this time, no.
About 70 people attended the meeting to have their say on how Lake Macquarie should celebrate the bicentenary in 1988. During the meeting, there was criticism that those present were not a representative cross-section of the 160,000 people in the area. One man pointed out that the meeting was mostly full with men over 40 years of age. Only 1/5 were women, he said, and there were a handful of youths. Nevertheless, an organising committee was elected from those present and includes people with experience in social welfare, community matters, education, sports, tourism and Aboriginal affairs. 4 aldermen, 1 from each ward, will join the committee, and the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor were elected chairman. The Mayor, Alderman Pasterfield, says it is a representative committee with an abundance of talent.
Need to be very